recording anyways.
Here we are.
So
You might be wondering, is my phone buffering properly? No, it's not. Moving on.
yeah.
It's your phone's problem.
Yeah. Your internet is so slow today.
Your
and I
internet
don't know
sucks. You shouldn't have taken that last software update.
why. Dude, the last Windows 11 update killed me. Lost a ton of files.
Tell me about it.
So I was working on this one file. Big
Yeah.
file.
Okay.
Then Windows 11 updated forcibly.
Uh-oh.
File gone. Actually, I haven't even checked if the file's gone, I'll be totally honest.
But it's gone. I've looked everywhere and I can't find it.
The file is gone, and it's not my fault.
I haven't looked anywhere, but I can't find it.
It's not my fault. It was the thumbnail for the YouTube video, which I still
Oh no. You didn't tell me it was an important file.
Yeah, I said it's an big file. What more do I need to say?
Well, if it was like, depends on what the file's for, obviously. It was just like your run-of-the-mill big file. Like
No,
a
yeah,
spreadsheet.
It's a huge file.
You could back up a spreadsheet in no time.
Mega file.
A Photoshop file? That's tough.
Yeah. Well, actually, I'm using a program called GIMP because it's free.
Gross.
Yeah.
I don't like that name.
I don't either. No.
I don't
It's
like it
not
one
great.
bit.
No. Nope.
Here we are.
But that's what it's called.
Here we are.
The Imola. Imola Snooze Fest.
A little bit.
A little bit, which we'll get into. But we did have some.
I'm pulling it up.
What?
I'm gonna read it this week.
The emails?
Yeah.
You want to take them away?
I wanna read them.
I'm bringing them, pull them up as well because there's a second email that we got that I feel like reading it because I think
email.
it will be fun to do so.
Okay.
But we did have some emails from the fans, and one from another fellow, which we'll talk about.
That was not a fan?
It's not a fan, but he's a fellow. But yeah, the first one you see. So
yeah.
Noah has not been checking the emails.
No. Well, he just emailed on a Monday, a holiday Monday. We're recording this on the Tuesday.
Yeah, we are. But do you want to read the fan email?
Yes.
Okay, take it away.
This one coming in from Brian.
Well, whoa.
That's what he. If he wants to be referred to by his nickname, he needs to sign his email properly.
I'm just saying. Okay, all right. Well, okay.
From the super fan himself, titled Red Bull.
Yes. Subject line.
Remind me, did Red Bull get a penalty last year with their wind tunnel time being taken away? Has this translated into everyone catching up in pace, or is it Red Bull being told to dial it back to make the racing more exciting? I will remind you, they got penalized on the cost cap from the 2021 year.
Yes.
So therefore, they were penalized in the 2022 year, but it came into effect in 2023.
Correct.
We are in 2024.
Yes. So, which the wind tunnel time that they would have missed out on would have theoretically been for the 2024 car, right? I mean, it might have been for the development of the 2023 car, but that wind tunnel testing time,
I suppose,
could have also been used for the development of this year's car.
I suppose so, but I don't think the developments that we've seen are because Red Bull had less wind tunnel time.
Yeah.
Because Red Bull came with just as disgustingly dominant of a car at the beginning of this year as what they had at the end of last year.
Yeah, they did.
It's just that other teams have closed the gap.
Yep.
So there is your reminder.
I'd say the penalty didn't really penalize them at all, and it's a silly penalty.
Oh, wait, I kind of just cut it off. His last question was, or is it Red Bull being told to dial it back to make the racing more exciting?
No.
Absolutely not.
No.
Red Bull would never dial it back.
Yeah.
4 years of Sebastian Vettel, they didn't dial it back.
Yeah, like there's no way it's Red Bull.
3 years of Max Verstappen. Max Verstappen would burn the factory to the ground if they said they were going to dial it back.
Yeah. I mean, he even just said in an interview the other day that he prefers just winning by like 25 seconds compared to close racing.
Which is psychopathic.
So like he doesn't. Yeah, nobody at Red Bull wants to dial it back. So no, I don't think they're being asked to do that, and I don't think Red Bull would comply.
So there's your answers.
Mercedes was dominant for like the better part of 8 years.
Yeah.
They weren't told to really dial it back.
Nope.
So.
And they didn't really do anything with the rules to try and even the playing field. People always bring that up about the 2004 to 2005 regulation changes.
Yeah.
People say that it was to like basically, cut Ferrari down to size because they were so good and so dominant in the early 2000s.
Maybe.
So they did some tire changes that were meant to screw Ferrari.
Yeah.
But Michael Schumacher still got second in the Drivers' Championship in the next 2 years.
Yep.
So that didn't really shake out. It's just that Fernando Alonso won first. But it was just his year. So anyways, that's the answer for that. I want to get to this other...
Yeah, let's discuss the second email that came in. We haven't discussed this together yet.
We have not. This is a live reaction.
We'll discuss it on air and get everybody's opinions on it. So please feel free to now email in response. The start makes me immediately skeptical that this person has watched the podcast or listened to it. And that is because it starts with, "Hi, Noah," and only Noah.
Mm-hmm.
"Found your podcast. I work with a pay-on-results PR firm. We've helped podcasts like yours get featured in large mainstream publications, helping them secure sponsorships, partnerships, and more listeners. Can I send you some examples of other podcasts we've helped?"
Can we respond live on air? Can we respond in an email?
I mean, we can.
Just reply, "Yes, thanks, David." "Yes, please send those over. Thanks." And then David.
Yeah. Sign it up.
Yep. Send it. Send that. Wonderful.
Yeah.
Well, we'll find out if that's real.
Yeah, I'm pretty skeptical of that one.
Podcasts like ours in mainstream publications.
Yeah. Well,
we've helped several groups of 2 guys in a basement with shoddy camera setups.
Well, to be
get
fair,
sponsorship deals.
I've seen worse production quality than us.
I have too.
So, like, we're not the worst in the industry.
And I think we have pretty good content.
Yeah, I'd say so.
Yeah.
If you disagree, please don't let us know. So we like positive reinforcement here,
or
nothing else.
Do so that I can turn you into an enemy.
Yeah. Ooh.
Sometimes I need an enemy.
Yeah, a bit of a rivalry going with the audience
to really get me going. Anyways, that's very interesting and very funny. So that was it. It was just like, hey, the interesting thing, I thought that was a scam at first, but the interesting thing is him saying, "Do you want me to send you some examples?"
Yeah, there's like no, I mean, his follow-up might be a link, in which case I am not touching that link with a 10-foot pole.
I'm like, yeah, send it over.
But
if it's a link, then I'll just be like, hey, type them out.
Yeah.
Type out the show names.
List them for me, please.
Yeah, list the names.
I'm
just
not
click
going
this link.
to your link.
No, sir.
Yeah.
You're not getting our juicy podcast passwords. No way.
Yeah.
That's very interesting, though. What was the guy's name again?
Vincent. Yeah.
Not a real name.
I know. I don't know anybody named Vincent.
Never existed. Well,
nobody from high school was named Vincent.
No.
Nobody.
No.
Nope. No.
What are you, a mobster?
Yeah.
We expect a mob to represent us?
Or Vinny.
To sponsor us?
I couldn't even imagine.
No.
Couldn't imagine.
Well, that was fan mail.
Yeah.
Where do we begin with the actual Grand Prix weekend?
I mean, there's a little bit of news at least.
Let's do you
want to cut into that news, eh?
Which one?
With a big old knife. Well, I would say the most
knife.
Interesting news is the Andretti news.
Yes. As of today.
Yeah.
Andretti's Formula One team, who has not been formally accepted into Formula One, hired an ex-chief technical officer from Formula One management. So what this guy did at Formula One management was helped to design and integrate the future regulations. I believe this guy worked on the 2026 and 2028 regulations.
Yep.
And they're hiring him to be their chief technical officer.
They are.
So it's getting quite serious. You don't hire somebody from Formula One management that high up without being very serious about a team entry. So I'm very excited.
Yeah. Yeah. I am too. I like if this guy is coming from Formula One management, if he is moving to Andretti for this position, obviously he must feel confident that they can get into F1 still. Yeah. So to me, that was a really promising sign in terms of Andretti getting into F1 as well.
And Andretti's a way more exciting prospect of entry, I think, because, well, first of all, because they're not allowing them in right away. So there's a bit of contention there. I kind of like that.
Yeah.
And then also, they're building from the ground up.
Yeah.
When Haas bought whatever team it was at the time, I can't even remember what team it was.
I don't remember what they were before
It might have been
Haas.
Caterham.
Yeah, I don't know.
It might have been...
No, because Caterham wasn't still around when Haas entered.
I don't know what team they bought.
Yeah,
all I can tell you is that team was pretty bottom barrel, and the price was right.
Yeah.
Andretti's building a team. I like that.
Yeah.
I like that.
Ground up.
Very exciting.
Ground up.
The other, what's another news thing? We don't want to get into the future. That McLaren livery.
I have a bit of news.
Go for it.
Sebastian Vettel confirmed moving to Mercedes.
I think the only thing we confirmed was that Sebastian Vettel's hairline is pretty bad. Yikes, nothing wrong with it. I'm just saying, it was raining.
Yeah, but no.
And he's older. It's okay.
Yeah, so it's actually turns out that he's going to both Mercedes and Ferrari in an advisory role. Mercedes, he's actually driving for. Ferrari, he's just advising. He's actually going to Audi as well in a reserve driver role. The problem is if Mercedes needs him and then Audi needs him at the same time as their reserve driver, they've agreed to split his time between the two teams. In that scenario,
so does he just kind of like straddle both cars and
he'll pit with one and then get into the other car and then leave from the pits?
It's like MotoGP though, of bike changes.
Yeah. Except it counts like each car has to complete the race and they have to run the same amount of laps.
Right.
So it's like if it's a 63 lap race, he has to do 63 laps in both cars. So their points chances are low, but yeah, that's the agreement.
But their fun chances are high.
Yeah.
Their fun chances are high.
You just have to sit around. The race has already ended, and you're just watching Sebastian Vettel doing laps in a car on his own. Yeah, no, there wasn't any like real driver news. Was Albon confirming Williams before Miami,
that was in between, but that wasn't that exciting.
It was not that exciting.
Albon confirmed driving for Williams. Fantastic. There's a rumor that Valtteri Bottas is interested in driving for Williams again.
That'd be interesting. I mean, he's a likable guy.
Get any worse than Steak?
No, they're not doing great.
Nope.
So, but like, not a terribly exciting thing.
No.
There's still being Williams supposedly pushing for Kimi Antonelli to get his super license to replace Logan Sargent, but nothing more has really come out of that. It wasn't like the craziest news week.
No, it wasn't.
F1 news, I'd say. Nothing.
Post race, there was the McLaren unveiled their livery for the Monaco Grand Prix.
The Senna livery.
Very cool.
Yeah, it's a cool livery. I like it.
It's just different.
Yeah,
that's why I like it.
I've got no issue with it.
Yep.
Cool livery.
Yep.
It feels like I feel like I'm gonna get blasted for this. I feel like all the Senna stuff over the last couple weeks has been a bit excessive.
A little too much.
I understand he was a good driver. Some might argue the greatest of all time. I think that'd be a very difficult argument to make.
Very difficult argument.
I don't know. There's a lot of
Yeah, like, so for those that don't know, there was Sebastian Vettel had essentially a parade honoring Ayrton Senna because it was the 30-year anniversary of his passing at the Imola Grand Prix in 1994. And yeah, I think that there was like a track walk with all the drivers and stuff, and they all had shirts, and then he drove Senna's car, which he owns, which is pretty cool. That's a baller move.
I realized I didn't have my mic. Which he owns. He owns that car, yeah.
Which is a pretty baller move. And then he was holding up the Brazilian flag and the Austrian flag for the other driver that passed that weekend. It was cool, but yeah, it's quite a bit. I like that McLaren is doing a special, interesting livery that's not just another way to put orange on a car.
Yeah, I still appreciate the livery and everything. Yeah. So yeah, I'm not going to complain.
I'm not quite sure why it's picking up again 30 years later.
Yeah.
I don't quite get.
It just seems like a weird milestone to me as well. But like, nothing wrong with it. It's felt like a lot over the last couple weeks, but like
all of a sudden,
yeah, and I've been seeing people that like I've never heard talk about F1 liking like Senna posts on Instagram and stuff.
Interesting.
And I'm just like, you do not care about this. There's no shot you care about this.
Yeah.
But whatever.
It is a weird one. I mean, it is an interesting point. Like for what. So he was in F1 for 10 years.
Yeah.
And the legacy that he left is insane.
Yeah.
Three-time champion?
I don't know, actually. I don't know his stats.
Was it 2? Keep them busy while I
kind of thought it was only 2, but I don't know for sure. It could have been 3-time. Senna's career is not one I'm like extremely familiar with.
3-time.
It is 3-time.
88, 90, and 91.
Oh, you're right. I forgot about the gap.
Yep.
Yeah. But yeah, that was the other like kind of news-ish item going on.
Mm-hmm.
Beyond that, the Grand Prix itself,
The Grand Prix itself.
Did you have anything of note for the free practice sessions?
Ferrari was fast as heck.
Yep.
And then it didn't necessarily translate to race pace.
I mean, I think
it didn't necessarily not translate to race pace.
The race pace wasn't awful, but like
it was like I think they were only a 10th behind on race pace.
Yeah.
McLaren and Red Bull were just so much faster than they had shown in practice.
Ferrari hyped up all their new upgrades and everything.
They should not have done that.
Which didn't amount to much.
No.
And then I think this was a good example of why free practice kind of sucks. Like it's so deceptive.
Yeah.
Verstappen was struggling in all the free practice sessions. People were like, "Oh man, this isn't going to be his race." Spoiler alert. He won.
It was his race.
And like it just makes it seem like something's going to happen and it just never does kind of thing, right? So
I will say, because I actually did get to watch some free practice on a lunch break, which was awesome. And it was nice. It was interesting to see because I watched Verstappen struggle. Like I watched him go off at turn 17, and I saw the Red Bulls not doing so well, and I got to see how they weren't doing so well. It wasn't just like they're not fast. It's like the car's clearly not doing what they want it to. But it's like you can't count them out off of free practice. It's like if Max Verstappen qualifies less than 3rd, I know that it's bad.
Yeah.
Like Singapore of last year.
Yeah, exactly.
He was like 5th or 6th or something like that. It's like, that's when it's really bad.
Yep.
If he qualifies, like he's still scratched out a pole position. Yep. It was very close.
It was pretty.
And without a toe from, wasn't it?
It was kind of close.
Like without a toe from Hülkenberg. It worked out well for him, but
yeah, I mean, like the announcers hyped it up as if it was close, but it was like, and it's not like he blew everybody away by like a second or something like that,
like previously.
But like he had the best time and then he improved on that time, but I think even with his previous time, he still would have pulled out pole.
Okay.
So like it wasn't as close as people were making it sound.
All right.
But he had a lap that I think I read actually equaled the track record or something like that for the current configuration.
Yep.
So obviously a very good lap. He didn't have purple in every sector though, so there's still room for improvement there.
Yeah, Red Bull didn't look like their normal, absolutely dominant self, but that didn't mean that Max wasn't going to win.
Yep. I think the only thing that like I really wanted to note from qualifying itself, because I mean, I didn't think it was incredibly close. Perez didn't make it into Q3.
Ricardo outqualified Perez.
Ricardo outqualified. Like, what the heck? Perez's times were terrible.
Yeah.
And this is the exact same thing that happened last season. He does okay in the first handful of races, and then he just dropped off the map.
Yeah.
And we're seeing it again. He's qualifying. He's missing the final round of qualifying in the best car. It's still the best car. That's clear. He's still not making it happen. Like, I can't figure out why this guy thinks he deserves a seat. He just isn't.
We
there,
always
man.
Come back to this conversation.
I know it comes up so often, but I'm just so annoyed about it.
It always happens.
I'm so annoyed about it. He should replace him with somebody else.
It is tough.
Replace him with somebody else. He came 8th in the Grand Prix. Again, spoilers for it itself.
Yeah.
Like, he made up no ground again in the car that won the race.
A V-carb and a Haas rounded out who was behind him.
Oh, behind him.
Behind him.
Yeah, behind him.
That's who he was racing.
Yeah.
He raced, I think it was Hulkenberg and Tsunoda.
But, like, I mean, you have...
In a Red Bull.
You have V-carbs in Haas's outperform, like, making it into the top 10 for qualifying before a Red Bull? That is, like... Dude, you're doing something wrong. Like, I don't care if you don't like that track.
I'm looking up the results.
That's
just to double check.
That's just brutal, man. It's brutal.
Oh, my bad. No, it was Stroll and then Tsunoda.
I thought it was Stroll, but I wasn't sure. Oh, and that's the other thing to note. Aston Martin, whoa. Whoa. This was a huge downturn for them.
Terrible.
Like, Stroll still got a point in the end of the race and everything,
which was amazing.
But
I did not see that
actually a really good drive from Stroll. Yeah, gotta say. But like,
man, their car was dreadful.
Yeah, like Fernando Alonso, he was nowhere.
In qualifying, correct?
He like went off the track.
Okay. Because I just saw him in a pit lane start.
He did. He did take a pit lane start. I can't remember if that was because he crashed or if that was just because like he had a poor qualifying for performance, because I thought he got the car back on track again. I didn't think it crashed that bad. Because I like qualifying didn't get red flagged.
Oh, okay, all right.
Maybe I'm wrong on that. I did watch qualifying and I don't remember skipping past a red flag.
Well, no, like they looked. Yeah, they looked dreadful. It is so crazy with Aston Martin. Their variance in competitiveness.
Yeah, they're all over the place.
Wild.
They're all over the place.
1 second they are like the
top
second
5
fastest car on track.
Yeah.
And then the next they are wallowing in the lower 15, in the lower like 5 or 6 drivers.
You know, that was
crazy.
the first time Stroll had gotten a point in like 3 races.
Yeah, I did know that.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
So sad.
Yeah. We should talk about some better things.
Sure, yeah.
The top 5. Both Ferraris, both McLarens.
Yeah.
And Max Verstappen. Max Verstappen won the race. Lando Norris came in second. Let's talk about the main factor.
Okay.
Lando Norris absolutely chased down Max Verstappen. It was insane.
Okay, I'm going to have a different opinion on this.
Try. Go ahead.
I did not think this was particularly exciting.
It was not exciting for this race. Obviously was not going to pass him.
Yeah,
Lando
like
was obviously not going to make a pass on Verstappen.
I saw videos of people getting like all like out of their seat and everything. They're like, "Oh my goodness, Lando's chasing down Max."
No.
Lando didn't have enough laps to pass Max.
Nope.
Even if he did catch up to the back of him, which he kind of did, to be fair.
He got within
Like,
0.7, which is the closest, like,
yeah, which is
margin
close.
we've had for Max, like, ever.
Yep, and that's fair. But Imola is not an easy track to pass on.
Nope.
Would have taken him many more laps, I think, to actually get that move done.
I bet you it could have taken him 10 more laps.
And even then, I don't know if it would have happened, because then he's just running in dirty air for that many laps. How long will his tires hold up?
He spent a lot of his battery energy getting to that.
Yep. Plus, I gotta say, like, Lando was catching him, but Max just doesn't make mistakes. Again,
It's true.
like, Max was under pressure.
The race, yeah.
Under pressure, he couldn't make any more track limit violations.
Yep.
And still had to keep his pace strong enough to keep Lando far enough away.
Yep.
And Max just did it flawlessly. Lando was making mistakes in those last 5 laps still.
It's true. He was getting
You could
squirrely.
see him making mistakes.
Yep. He was getting a little drifty on corner exits and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I was
like,
excited about it for what this means for next race.
Yeah,
for the
and that's
race
fair.
after that, and
That's
the
fair.
fact that somebody was able to chase down Max in a car.
Yep. Yeah.
Perez can't even chase down Max in the same car.
McLaren is looking very promising right now,
Yep.
which is exciting.
Yep.
I'm glad that McLaren is actually closing the gap to Red
Yep.
Bull. Did I expect McLaren to be the team to do that? No.
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 No,
Especially
not at
when
all.
they like fired their technical staff and said that they were going to replace it with a collective group of people that
Yes.
are all the head of different technical departments.
But it's working.
It is working. So all the power to them.
Mhm.
When they announced that, I was like, this is going to be terrible.
Yeah.
So
But it worked out. So
yeah.
I was excited to see somebody catch Max and show that the pace can be closer.
Yep.
Was he going to pass him for the win? No. Never thought that. And like from the data, Max was like those tires were gone.
Yeah.
He was not exaggerating.
Yeah.
His pace was bad on those hard tires.
Yep.
The Red Bulls had a speed advantage on the medium, but they actually had a speed disadvantage to McLaren on the hard.
Yeah.
Even when you're accounting for tire wear, the McLaren was better on the hard tires. And the Red Bulls had a problem with braking, interestingly, at Imola. I don't understand why, but it's very interesting that they had a problem with braking.
Well, so the thing that makes me less excited about this race is that clearly this was a weekend where Red Bull was struggling a bit and they still pulled out the win.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm a bit concerned still that that gap is not as close as it might actually appear right now.
Maybe. I have faith.
We'll have to see what happens in Monaco.
Yep.
I don't have
I'm excited.
a ton of faith, but I'd be happy to be proven wrong.
I think something can happen in Monaco.
Something could happen in Monaco. I mean, last year at Monaco, we saw Fernando Alonso almost get pole before Max just pulled out an incredible third sector of a lap.
And then Fernando, if they played the strategy right, actually could have won that race.
Yeah.
As well.
Disappointing.
Well, it is what it is. They made a call one way or the other. The weather went the other way.
Yep. Yeah.
But it was actually possible for him to have won that race. The one before, Sergio Perez won that race.
Yep.
The one before, I don't want to talk about it. Things happen in Monaco.
Things do happen in Monaco.
So Monaco is going to be exciting. But yeah, Lando Norris had a fantastic drive. The McLaren is looking very, very competitive. It's even as a Ferrari fan myself, it's exciting to see McLaren and Ferrari fight it out.
Yeah.
For second, third, fourth, fifth.
Yeah, I agree.
Like it is Norris in second and McLaren, Leclerc in a Ferrari, Piastri in a McLaren, Sainz in a Ferrari, and then everybody else.
Yeah. I was a bit surprised Piastri wasn't able to catch Leclerc.
Well, that was what I was happy about as well. Leclerc and the Ferrari was fast.
Yeah, it wasn't bad.
It was. Because Leclerc was catching Norris.
Yeah.
And then I think they decided they weren't going to get anywhere with it.
Yeah.
So he just kind of hung back and kept position. And then Norris went off to attack Max
Yeah.
very hard.
Yeah.
But Leclerc was catching Norris
Yeah.
very quickly.
He was, in that one section he was.
Piastri couldn't quite close in on him.
Yeah.
I do wonder what that race would have looked like if Piastri kept his second place.
Yeah, true, honestly.
Because Piastri got a 3-place grid penalty.
He did.
For obstructing Magnussen in qualifying.
Yeah.
Which was tough. So he started 5th instead of 2nd.
Yeah.
So it's pretty impressive for him to outqualify Norris.
Yep. Yeah.
And then Sainz just kind of hung out with because the top 5 broke away basically within a couple of laps.
Yeah.
And there was no incidents, really. There was, Albon pitted and had a loose wheel, which he crawled around the track and came back, but they didn't flag the race in any manner, which was good. But
no
it
safety
was just
cars.
a good, clean, straight race. It was a bit of a snooze fest.
A little bit of a snooze fest.
It was 63 laps of
just
it's a one stop. It's a one-stop race.
It's a track that's hard to pass on.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was a very straightforward race. There wasn't that much change in position going on. Not like a whole lot to really look at and be like, this was crazy.
Yeah.
Very straightforward race. Unfortunately, not the most exciting on the planet.
Yeah.
I'm amazed that everybody did keep it clean through turn 1, because that's not very easy on that track.
No.
But everybody did, so good on them. But not a terribly exciting race all in all as far as races go.
Should we talk about I paused my game for this?
Yeah. Yeah.
So for those that don't know, Max Verstappen is a part of a sim racing team called Team Redline. They take part in endurance races in GT3 cars on the game iRacing. Team Redline is an extremely good team. One of the best teams out there for any event they enter. And this past weekend was the virtual 24 hours of the Nürburgring that Team Redline entered. So Max Verstappen did a 4-hour stint of sim racing that ended at midnight.
Yep.
On Saturday night. So 4 hours. So from 8 to 12, he was sim racing. Then he went to bed and then raced the next day. Team Redline won the 24 hours of Nürburgring.
Yeah.
And Max Verstappen won
the actual Grand Prix.
The actual Imola Grand Prix.
Yep. It was funny too, because I saw like one clip and it was one of the like heads of the sim racing company, and they were sitting there and they're like, we're very kind with our employees. We like to encourage them to pursue other hobbies, and so we're letting Max participate in one of those later on.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable that he was able to do that. Max did admit, he's like, I'm very tired. And he's like, but it's not from the sim racing. He claimed it was from all the bumps on track, because Imola is a pretty physical track.
Yeah.
Like there's
a lot of
there's
twists
a middle
and turns
section where you compress down, brake, and then turn right very hard.
Yep.
Brake even harder, turn right, and then shoot uphill.
Yep.
So you're just like compressed the entire time.
Well, not
the chicane
to mention
is bumpy.
Yeah, the chicane, you're like, people deliberately cut the chicane and you get airborne.
Verstappen
sometimes.
got air.
He did get airborne, yeah.
Like basically every lap. So like it's very physical, but he was like, it's not from sim racing.
Yeah.
But that was insane.
Yeah.
That I can't imagine. And so in case people are wondering like, oh, what was his sim racing like? Team Redline had a 20-second gap at the beginning of Verstappen's stint.
Yep.
He extended it to a 40-second gap by the end of his stint. And he just said, I'm just going to extend the gap. And casually pulled out an extra 20 seconds. I know that's over 4 hours, but you got to understand, 4 hours of being perfectly consistent on the hardest racetrack in the world.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's unbelievable what a talent Max is.
That guy is crazy.
And I like that I like that he does the sim racing, because it brings a degree of legitimacy to it.
Yeah.
I think sim racing does suffer a lot of just like, oh, it's just a video game, and like sim racing is his own worst enemy in some ways, like people cheating and stuff like that. But
Yep.
it is pretty cool to watch a current competing F1 champion do his thing on there too.
Yeah. This, I don't know why it reminded me too, but there was another record that Max, I think, equaled this weekend.
Yep.
Which was for pole positions in a row.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it was Senna's record that he equaled, was it not? Yep. So
8.
That was the most excited I've ever seen Max.
Yeah, for a pole position.
For anything.
Yeah.
He came on the radio and he was like actually excited.
That's crazy.
Like,
I mean, have you seen when he won his first championship?
I didn't see that.
That was pretty excited.
Okay, fair enough. But like,
he's like screaming.
Then I'll say in recent years.
Yes, 100%.
Because like lately, whenever he comes on the radio, he's like,
"Good drive.
Yeah, that was nice.
That was lovely.
Good work, guys. That's lovely. Yeah. Lovely race." And this time he came on the radio and he was like actually excited.
That's cool.
He was legitimately excited.
That's cool.
So that was cool.
I mean, at Monaco, if he gets pole, then he will have
the record,
the most pole positions.
I think he has a good chance of doing it. Still,
it is unbelievable.
Yeah,
8 in a row.
Yeah. I mean, I think even if Max like retired tomorrow, he'd probably go down as one of the greats. Like, he just drives at such a consistent level.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
And he, after winning in Imola, he now has a better win percentage than Lewis Hamilton.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know if that takes into account the recent years of Lewis Hamilton's performance.
I think it does.
Okay.
I think it does.
Because then I would almost say it's not really fair.
It's not super fair because of the amount of time that Hamilton has been in. Mm-hmm. That record's bound to like it's kind of shrink.
What's the math? He came in 2008.
Yeah.
16 years.
Yep.
Max has been in for 8.
Yep.
Literally double the time. So
yeah.
Max has an absurd win percentage for the amount of time that he's been in F1.
That's true.
It is crazy.
Yeah, it's still a crazy big number, like crazy good, but it's not necessarily a like good comparison tool.
No.
Still an interesting stat to look at on its own.
Yep. The stats. We're all about the stats here.
But like
advanced analytics.
When comparing it to Hamilton, it's a bit unfair just because he has been in the sport for longer. He's generally had a pretty good car most years, but like there's years where he is not just being flat out dominant and has been like fighting for those wins and stuff. So and I mean like years like when he had to compete against Nico Rosberg, things like that. Yeah. Whereas Verstappen he
hasn't fought a teammate for wins.
Yeah.
Like ever.
He doesn't have an actual competitive teammate alongside him.
It'd be nice.
Doesn't.
Here we are back to this topic again.
Back to Perez. But we don't need to get more into that.
No, we don't.
But like it's not a fair comparison.
Yep. I do have to bring up I hit a pretty big windfall with my F1 fantasy picks. Did you check by any chance?
I did. You screwed up so badly, dude.
Why?
You wasted the unlimited token.
Not really.
You should have used it on a sprint weekend. Benny got like many. You're so dumb, dude.
I forgot about
Benny got so many extra points for using it on the sprint weekend. I saw that you used that, and I was like, I can't believe Noah just did that.
Too bad. Wow, I totally didn't even think of that.
Yeah. So
oh well.
So
I still nailed the top 5.
You did, and despite you picking a good team, I was still like, this guy's
bad move.
This guy screwed up. So like. You still did well. You did probably as well as you could have on a non-sprint weekend.
Yep, that was a big mistake, though.
But like, yeah, sorry, man.
Oh well, it's hard. Yeah.
Because on a sprint weekend, that would have been a lot of points.
That's true. That would have been a lot of points. But I still pulled out a 150-point gap.
Yeah.
So we'll see. Somebody could close it, but anyways,
we will see.
I just felt good that I nailed the top 5 perfectly.
Like generally speaking, the teams you've been picking have been the best out of everybody.
Yeah.
But like to maximize points, if you'd done that on the sprint weekend,
didn't even. I'm so embarrassed.
Yeah.
Now that I brought it up, I'm like, oh, look at how well I did. Why didn't you use it on a sprint weekend?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. Because me and Andrew were talking about it, and Andrew's like, yeah, a couple people used the unlimited token this weekend. I was like,
oh, did they? I didn't see who else did.
I think maybe one other person did. Okay. I didn't ask Andrew who else. And he's like, yeah, Noah was one of them. And I was like, no way.
Bad move. We'll see if that tanks me. If it does, I'm okay with it. But
yeah.
Anyhow, Monaco is up next. I'm excited for it in a sense.
Yep. Monaco is up next.
I want drama.
Hopefully we see some.
I want drama.
Hopefully we see some.
Monaco has been pretty good for drama.
Yeah, it has.
Like
it can be.
It can be.
It can be. So I'm excited. We've had some good drama there in the last couple years.
I hope it rains again.
That would be fun.
That was fun.
That was fun. I liked when it rained, and was it Stroll that just drove straight into the wall on like the formation lap?
It was behind the safety car. It was Latifi that drove straight.
That's right.
On the formation lap.
And
then it was Stroll behind the safety car when it was raining on intermediate tires.
Yeah, so
that busted his front wing.
Yeah.
Not specifically Stroll breaking his front wing, but the rain.
Yeah, the rain.
Canadians have a bit of a tough look in F1 recently.
Yeah, well, but again, Imola, good weekend for Stroll. Good weekend. He got points. He drove pretty well.
You know what's tough?
What?
There's not a single Canadian up and coming in the F1 tree at all.
If Stroll leaves, we're not having anybody for a while.
Like, there's nobody. Nobody in F4. Nobody in F3.
Until we get into the sport.
Exactly. We'll put Canada back on the map. No, but it is kind of crazy.
It is, yeah. Yeah, it's unfortunate.
There's a couple of Canadians that are doing well in like GT3 racing and in endurance racing.
Yeah.
But
rare that you see crossover from those.
I mean, Europeans can barely make it in F1 anyway, so sending your Canadian kid over to take part in the junior formulas is crazy. So anyhow, that's kind of all we have to talk about this week.
Yeah, a lackluster
week.
That
crazy.
Not too much going on. It's going to be a shorter podcast this week, but hey, oh well.
I'll let you know if I get a massive virus from that link that this guy will inevitably send us.
I mean, I'll see the email too, so
yeah.
We'll keep you informed on the fun emails we're getting. But you guys, other fans out there should have sent more emails if they wanted this to be a longer podcast.
Reach us at grainguys98@gmail.com.
Yep.
We will read your email.
We will.
Online. Live is what I meant to say, not online.
Well, it is online.
It is online. Still correct.
I think we can take it.
Still correct.
What would Brad Strauss do?
You know, I think that more and more. It's a crazy world out there.
Crazy world. Times are tough.
We find ourselves in. Well, anyways, this has been the Drain Guys.
Yep. I'm David.
And I'm Noah.
And we'll see you after Monaco.
Which is this weekend.
It is this weekend.
Bye.
Bye.